It's early in the morning. If you're new to the channel, we usually, almost always, stay out on public lands in the wilderness. That's where we are right now. But we need to travel north, and it's hot. We're going to be hitting over 100-degree temperatures today. So I'm planning to go to an RV park. So we'll see how that works out. Dodger has this new thing where he only wants to eat inside. And he wouldn't eat this morning until I put an egg in his food. Now he's eating all of it. And Mr. Echo had an interesting morning. I got up at 4, went to bed like around midnight. Ugh. You just kicked sand on me. So I'm kind of tired. But all night he was like kind of coughing, kind of gagging, and he'll do that if he eats grass, but he hasn't been eating grass. So I knew that was kind of strange. He ended up throwing up, which is unusual unless he's been eating grass. And there was no grass in it. There were a few pine needles. Yeah. So when I got up at 4, he was still kind of coughing, and I was really worried. I started massaging his neck because it seemed like he was trying to cough something up, and he did. He coughed up like an orange Laffy Taffy. So he found it on the ground. That's probably where the pine needles came from. They were probably stuck to that Laffy Taffy. And that thing was just shaped like, kind of like the inside of his throat. Like it wasn't clogging his throat, but it was like stuck to the inside of his throat. You know, it was kind of like oblong shaped. So he coughed that right up. It worried me at first. I was like, what is that? Is it some worm or something? And he hasn't been coughing since. He coughed up a bunch of phlegm after that. And then that was it. So that made me feel a lot better. So I'm packing up the rig. I got to hook up the trailer this morning. I got everything packed up into the truck. And we're good to go. I got a bunch of stinky doggy bags here because we were in a populated camp area. You can see a bunch of people out here. So I've been picking up their business. So I want to get rid of this soon, but it's going to be 100 miles till we're at a gas station. I'm just trying to show you like what the reality of nomadic life is. This is one of our days that it's not really my favorite, but you know, once we get on the road and we're driving and everything's running good, then it's kind of nice to drive. We got a couple 100 miles and it's kind of relaxing. Listen to some music, listen to some podcasts. The dogs basically just fall asleep in the truck. And as long as it doesn't get too hot in there, I don't use the air conditioning a lot, which I should, because the air conditioning works fine in the truck. I usually just ride with the windows down so I feel the full temperature outside. I don't want to get like spoiled on air conditioning. That's my philosophy. But if it does get too hot, then I will turn the air conditioning on, especially for Dodger. I really want to stay in the outdoors. But since I can't get the generator running our air conditioner in the trailer, usually it works fine, but I'm having problems with it. So I'm going to have to get that resolved. Until then, I'm going to try to stay at RV parks. If it's over about 90, 93 degrees, I need to stay in an RV park for the dogs. So I found one in Utah. It's like $40, $45. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just going to kind of drop in. There's a few RV parks there, so if that one happens to be full, then we can move on to a couple other RV parks. There's some campsites there that I'd love to stay at, but you know, there's no power, there's no services, and it's going to be over 95 degrees in Utah. This is one of the times of year where like I'm really behind the other snowbirds that come down here for the winter and then they head north. I'm behind just because I just kind of got behind, and that's just how I travel. So I'm making up for it now by having to stay at probably 3, maybe 4 RV parks on the way up to Oregon and Washington. Wish us luck. So this is the end of our baseball camp. Echo didn't chew on this anymore. I know you guys are going to say it's not safe for him to chew on that, but I watched him the whole time he did. He had a swollen eye last night too. He has this one pink eye. It's normal for him to have a pink or kind of white eye here. This one you can see is black. See how it's kind of black there? Right there is black. But this was kind of puffy and swollen, so I was worried about him, but it looks really good this morning. I washed it out with some saline solution a couple times. I don't know if that helped, but he looks a lot better. He's not coughing. Got to do my dummy check before I get back on the pavement. I know you've all seen me do this before, but seriously, I catch more problems this way than any other way. You just forget to hook something up. Actually, that's never happened, but usually it's like, oh, I got a flat tire. I like to check my lights before I leave. I did that in camp. It's a little hard with one person. What I do usually is I turn on the hazard lights, and so that way they're both blinking, and so I can just walk back behind once and see that they're both blinking. I got these blinds that the strings are like, one of them is, it's always loose and it falls down. I hate that so much. It's so irritating. I have to figure out a way to fix that. So I just check all my tires, check the hitch here, make sure everything's hooked up. I'll do that right now. And you can all go ahead and critique me on how I have this chained up here. Supposedly you're supposed to cross these chains for extra safety, because that way if the trailer does come detached, it'll fall here like kind of like a cradle. Emergency brake cable hooked up. This is all locked. I also checked the hitch pin just to make sure the hitch pin is intact. You got to check that, make sure these hooks are in there good. This hitch pin is a locking hitch pin, and I've never unlocked it, but it's good. It's just good to have a locking one just so somebody doesn't steal your hitch. Check your electrical connection, make sure that's in there good. Other things too, like any wires or cables that you have, that they're kind of the right height. This, what do you call this thing? The post for the jack. Make sure that that's where you want it to be. I like mine to be up pretty high. And I always take the little platform that comes off here. I always take that off, just because I don't want it fouling anything up, and these chains or this cable, or scraping on the ground or anything like that. That's just how I do it, so go ahead and critique me. I also check under the trailer, just to make sure I don't have any hoses or cables hanging down. And I think we're good to go. Man, we got up like 3 hours ago. It takes so long for me to get ready to go. And I try to move like I'm moving. You know, I do sit down and have breakfast. I make myself coffee. But other than that, like I'm walking the dogs so they can go to the bathroom. I feed them. I check everything. I do kind of double check and I triple check some stuff, like the fridge. I double check and triple check the fridge to make sure that that's securely locked. I check all the cupboards inside, because that could be terrible, man. You pull over at a gas station and you realize your fridge popped open. That's like my worst nightmare. One of my worst nightmares. So we're 3 hours into the morning already. It's 7 o'clock. And I wanted to be on the road by 6, you know. I was moving. It's hard as one person to just do everything, make sure you have everything correct. Because remember, if you screw it up, you're going to be the one that has to fix it. You don't have a second person there to like kind of fill in the gaps and help you out. It's just me. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, those are the things you should be thinking about when you're doing nomad life or when you're traveling long term. You want to be thinking about safety and all the little tasks that you're going to have to do, all the little things you're going to have to accomplish, and make sure everything is hooked up and good to go. And I feel confident right now, so I think we're good to go on the road. I just pulled into this gas station and I was just realizing like how weird it is to be like in my home, but now it's like I'm in a gas station and there's the highway right out there. It's just a weird feeling. An hour ago we were in camp and you just look outside and it's quiet and there's trees and landscape and very few people around. Now I'm in like this dirty, grungy gas station with a sign on the door that says like, these specific customers are not allowed. See that pink sign on their door right there? It has a whole list of like people's names. These people are not allowed inside. You're on the road with your home and you're bringing your home with you to all these places. And sometimes you end up in really unique, interesting places. It's a weird feeling. Second gas station. This place is kind of cool. Maverick. They have a free dump, which is useful sometimes. And also you can get water. One of these islands, yeah, right here. And I found this out on the iOverlander app that you can hook up your hose right there and get all the water you need. If you just pull into this place, you might not know where that pump is. That's why iOverlander is really helpful, because it'll tell you like exactly what pump to pull up to use that service. This is Page, Arizona. It's kind of awesome. We're gonna get out of here and we're gonna head about 80 miles north into Utah, where it's gonna be about 10 degrees cooler. And we should get set up there at a cool RV park. And I can let the dogs out because there's a dog park there. Back on the road. Here's the free dump at the Maverick, which is pretty handy to have. I only have about a week's worth in my tanks right now, and I have enough water, so I don't need to use this station at all. It's just things like that that make the iOverlander app really helpful, because you can find free services that you need for RV life. It's pretty awesome. And then you come here, you buy some gas, go inside, get some snacks. I never do that. I never do that. It's too expensive. We decided to say no to the RV park. We ended up at one of our favorite places. It's just a little bit north of where we were gonna stay. And you can see it's cloudy here. So that made me think, like, you know, I think we can do this. It's gonna be a little warm, but it's only supposed to get to 90 right where we are. So it's even cooler than we were planning at the RV park. This is just the kind of thing you do as a full-time traveler. A lot of times you end up changing your plans like at a moment's notice. The other reason I decided to stay here was there's a creek, and I guess somebody turned this area into a pool with this big tarp. It's kind of nasty, but it's probably not bad to like get in there. So I figured the dogs can stay cool. Echo, I don't know if you should drink that. He's just drinking it. Echo, don't drink it. Stay. You can get in there. Echo, go for a swim. Yes. So I figured the creek coupled with the shade, plus we're kind of it's the afternoon, like it's almost 2 o'clock. So if we do have to endure the heat, then it's only going to be for a few hours. And man, you can see like Echo loves it. And Dodger will get in there too. The thing is, Dodger is going to like this more than staying at an RV park. He's just not big on all the vehicles coming in and out, and he's going to feel more at home here as long as it's cool. The other thing is, I'm planning to leave here early in the morning, so once the sun goes down, we're kind of in a canyon, then it's going to be super, super cool here. Look at Dodger. He's happy. I can tell he's happy. Let's see if we can get him to go in. Good boy. Good boy. That makes me feel like I made the right decision, because they didn't have a creek at the RV park. And I was thinking, like, they need to get out and go to the bathroom, and they're just going to be cooped up in the trailer all day with the air conditioning, you know, which is nice, but they're not going to be able to walk around there because it's going to be so hot. It's going to be like cement or gravel. Here, it's like at least there's different terrain. There's little patches of shade. You seem happy, buddy. So do you, Echo. Jeez, oh my God. Now the thing I got to determine is where to put the trailer. Because right here it's pretty open, but I know there's a cool spot. There's a couple cool spots right down this way. So I'm gonna hike down there real quick before I bring the trailer down there, just to make sure I can turn around and see if there's a spot first. You know, this will work. Obviously it's like super nice and close to the creek, but it's sort of a common area. You can see there's one trailer back over there. So you might get other people coming in just for the day. So if we head back over this way, it'll be a little bit more private. It's one of those hippie rocks. That's what I call these. People leave these around. Sometimes they'll put their website on there, or like their Instagram or their YouTube. And there's a swimming hole right here. This looks kind of awesome. The dogs would get fully submerged right in here. And there's this huge kind of campsite right here. The only thing is I can get down this little road right here, but can I turn around? I think I can. I can come in and just do a loop and then point out that way, and then I'll just camp right here. We're not going to get really shade until the sun goes over the hills on this side. Because if I bring the trailer in down this little pathway here, this is the only way out, and I'm not going to be able to get the trailer out this way. I mean, isn't this a cool area? Look at the red rocks. And we're just surrounded by cliffs. Now that I think about it, I could just pull in right here, right off this road. That campsite we were just looking at is right down there. So I could camp right here easily. We'd have the same access to the water. It's just not as close, so it's like someone could camp down there. This was a good idea. You can see I got a black shirt on right now. I'm in full sun. There's a little bit of a cloud, so I guess it's not full sun, but the sun's coming, peeking in and out of the clouds. And it is getting hot, like it's getting warm, but it's really not that bad. And there's like little caves in these cliffs here along the river. So here's another spot. You could get a trailer right down here. And I'm just showing you this just so you kind of get an idea of what goes through my head when I'm picking a campsite. Because you do want to be cautious. Like, I'm checking the ground, thinking about, you know, oh, am I going to sink in here? Will I need 4x4? What's my route when I get in here? Because I have a trailer, so it's a lot different than if you just have a van or a Jeep or something. It's like you can do a lot more. This is pretty sandy here. So honestly, this kind of scares me. I don't think I want to drive on this. It's just deep sand. Wow, this is cool. It looks like somebody put sticks up there. There's probably bird nests all up in there. There's a vulture. That is cool. You hear that bird chirping. It makes me think of chicks, like little baby birds. That's probably what it is. So this is a pretty cool spot. Another decent swimming hole. And if I was gonna drive on this, then I'd pull in here, pull in forward, and then back up into this area so that I'm faced out. But this is just too much like, I mean, it's like beach sand. And I don't want to get stuck here. You know, I probably would be fine. But I'm not going to risk it. I'm just not going to risk it. A lot of times I go for the easiest campsite, and I think that might be what we do here. That last spot that I looked at with that big tree. And that's something you learn, is to kind of just go for something that's pretty easy. Especially like right now, like I'm a little tired. Oh, this spot looks really cool though. And there's nobody out here. You want to go for an easy spot, meaning like you don't want to have to deal with getting stuck or kind of getting cornered somewhere, like in between trees or rocks or boulders or something like that. Because it's really unpleasant and it's scary, and you have a big rig and it's super hard to maneuver like in really tight spaces. Look at this. I mean, it just looks like lush and like kind of like a little paradise. And this road here going into the camp is totally flat. And it's hard packed. So that's not a problem. The main thing is, how do I get out? I mean, I could just come in and also back out. But I think what I'd do, this might be it. Head in here, probably pull up to here and then back around in the camp and probably back up into there. So then I'm aimed out. This might be a little road right here. Yeah, I can drive right out here, it looks like. Yeah, so it's like a loop road. It just comes right around. Yeah, this would be no problem. Come out right here, back on the road. One of my big concerns is fire pits. Because in the fire pits, you'll find nails and screws. I don't see any in this old one. I don't see any there. Because when you're driving around in these campsites, then you're just asking for it. There's that. There's one. Here's a whole bunch. So you definitely do not want to drive in this area. But I have to pull up into here. I don't know why there's so many fire pits here. There's a staple. Oh man, I just had a serious fiasco. Man, I just had the worst disaster. Oh, man, it was crazy. I ended up poking a hole